yoga, yoga, yoga. What's all the frenzy about yoga? I'm not talking about...
Yoga is an ancient practice that originated in the area now known as India. Yoga has been practiced for thousands of years. It is a physical and a spiritual practice that uses poses, breathing, and meditation for profoundly positive effects on mind, body, and spirit. It is a worldview that promotes peace.
Nope, not that kind of yoga. I'm talking about white yoga. The props, the expense, the literature. Yoga Plus, family yoga, manly yoga starring His Honorable the Dalai Lama, vegan yoga, yoga for singles, yoga for couples, yoga without yoga. What? I swear, you cannot walk down the streets of Berkeley, California and swing a live, dead, or suspended yogi or yogini without them falling into the hundreds of yoga places that we have there. For many years, I've watched happy, happy white people walking down the streets with their all organic cotton bags and their outfits, kind to nature, scent-free, on their way to the yoga studios. Each one of them carrying in their bags a mat, a block, some wedges, a blanket, on their way in their Lululemon's outfits. And there goes $500 walking down the street to the scent-free whisper zone of the yoga studio. Ain't no frowns up in here. Everybody's happy, 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 and namaste-ish. You know, sometimes I just want to snatch one of their bags just to see if I can get them to come out of their self-induced sense of nirvana. And these classes are in the daytime. I mean, who can go to a class in the daytime, right? I rest my case. Now, in full disclosure, I must say that I do believe in mind-body-spirit practices. I've been doing transcendental meditation since 1994, and I do believe in the power of spirit. But I do my TM at home in normal clothing, with no smile and no props. I don't bother anybody. And I did do yoga at home. I would listen to my DVDs, I would listen to Rodney Yee, and I would do that for free.
Palms facing your body. You are connected to the ground under you. Raise your chest, breathing, and move your spine toward the sky while your legs firmly move toward the ground. Relax.
We were doing listening to a DVD one day, and my family would support me, and they'd do the poses with me, and Rodney Yee said, "Hello, I'm Rodney Yee." He introduced his partner. She said, "Hello, my name is Maritza." Well, my 8-year-old solemnly announced, "We are all Maritza." And after that, I couldn't do my DVDs without laughing, because in fact, we all are Maritza. Which reminds me of Jesse Jackson's slogan, "I am somebody." And my friend Denitra Vance from Saturday Night Live announced, "I'm somebody else." And truly she was, before she died of cancer. So I do understand all of these things, and I do believe in them, but I was judgmental. I believe that all of these people were appropriators, were carpetbaggers, were yoga mat baggers or something like that, right? Coming into the communities with this yoga. But I'm from the East Coast, where judgment is currency. Judgment is seen as just a way of protecting you from things that might hurt you. She's a terrible cook. He's a drunk. Girl, don't get caught along with him. He's got fast hands. And some of these comments were cruel. big as a stove. Look at that soon boy over there. He just as soon be one thing as another. But we had a code of ethics. We didn't talk badly about anybody that lived on the 700 block of 224th Street. That was family, that was on your block, but everybody else was fair game. Am I right, people from the East Coast? No, so you know. But life is very challenging, and life can be harsh, and you've got to roll with it, and you've got to make changes. You've got to understand what's going on. You've got to be able to review things and change your mind. And that's exactly what happened to me. I had no idea that yoga would save my life.
You have an enlarged ovary, but I'm 80% certain that this is not cancer. Often, these things are nothing. I would like to schedule an appointment to remove your ovary.
Say what?
We like to be very careful about these kinds of situations.
I have a lighting gig in Canada, and if we could just push it off a little bit, I gotta go do my gig.
Well, I think that will be fine, but only if you won't blame yourself later if it turns out to be cancerous.
Nope, no blame whatsoever. I am so out of here. And off I went to Montreal to do my gig. And you know, Canada in February is the coldest place I've ever been. And that takes into consideration that I lived in Amsterdam for 2 years. So off I went, I got my outfit together. I wore a silk undershirt, a turtleneck, a shirt over that, a down vest, a walking coat, and a wool coat over there. Leggings, some light pants, some wool pants, 2 pairs of socks, and knee-high boots all at the same time. I felt nothing. Here I was, going off to do my gig. And, to top it off, on my way, I was just one step away from getting my PhD. So here I was, and I had planned it carefully so that, in case I died, I would die as Dr. Stephanie Johnson. Instead of just plain old Stephanie Johnson. 2 minutes before it's time, the electricity goes out in my neighborhood, which it never does. So I'm left with the 3 committee members on the screen and me on the phone. I try not to be distracted as I answer their questions.
Stephanie, can you tell us why you chose Aaron Douglas and Augusta Savage as the 2 artists for your visual analysis?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for being such a user-friendly committee. I heard stories about nightmarish committees where people would just mess people up. So I'm very happy that we have gotten to this day. I chose Augusta Savage and Aaron Douglas because of their connection to the New Deal and because each of them did a public art piece. Aaron Douglas did a mural series that still exists at the Schomburg, and Augusta Savage did a sculpture called Lift Every Voice and Sing, which was unfortunately demolished. I'm using 2 research methodologies. I'm using visual analysis and I'm using policy analysis to interrogate the connection between the Harlem Renaissance and the New Deal.
We have had a conversation about your presentation, and we would like to congratulate you, Dr. Stephanie Ann Johnson. The fields of public art and public policy with your research.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I've got to call my mother. She is going to be so happy.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that is no longer in service.
The night before the surgery was frightening and fitful. I began to think of myself in the past tense. Such a nice woman, very generous to her friends, to her family, to her students. Too bad she never got to use her PhD. I was terribly frightened. I was lost. And with my mother having died 4 years before that, it was a very, very painful period of time. But I realized that there was always something to be thankful about. And I resolved to be grateful. And I thought about the doctor's idea that he was 80% certain that it was not cancer. I mean, after all, I had eaten mostly organic. I had taken vitamin D, which is a cancer deterrent. And other than the ritualistic eating of hamburgers at White Castle in New York, I had done pretty well. So I figured there would be no cancer in this body. None whatsoever. The odds were in my favor. The day of the surgery, I said goodbye to my partner and my daughter, and I was wheeled into the operating room. It was lit by detestable fluorescent lighting. And you know how I feel about my lighting. The room was very animated. And the people in there discussed the fact that before the other surgeon got there, they would be an all-women's team. I looked over, and it was a black woman surgeon. I took this as a good sign, right? I mean, how many black women oncological surgeons are there in the world? I was ecstatic. Hi, I said. I just defended my dissertation and got my PhD in public policy. We had a conversation about the importance of mentoring the next generation of African American and black kids. It felt really good, and I started to get a little less frightened. Right before they started working on me with the anesthesia, I called them to the table. I said, listen, listen, listen. I want everybody to very carefully look at my chart right now. Can't be no oopsies, oh my God, there can be none of that. I am not here for racial or gender reassignment. I came in here a black woman, and when I wake up, I better be a black woman. And then, as if motivated by my self-definition, the world went black. When I woke up, I was so happy. Here I am. I'm back. I made it through. I'm alive. There was no guarantee that I would make it through. And then I looked across the room at the clock. It said 3:30. Uh-oh, this is not good. What time did the surgery start? I don't remember what time the surgery started, but this is much later than expected. I thought about my partner, my sister, my friends on the East Coast waiting and waiting and waiting and wondering past the expected time. Was I part of the 20% that had cancer? Very, very frightening. But I made it through, and at least I made it to Canada. And, let me see, I have too much to do to die now. Let me think, is the insurance, life insurance? We need to have life insurance. Oh yes, if I die before August, they'll be able to pay off the house. And it's only February now. Yankee Credo, family first, family first, family first. I still have to make a book proposal out of my dissertation. I have to write that play about Mrs. Reef, the Holocaust survivor. I have to clean and clear the basement. Oh my God, I'm a hoarder! And if I die, I won't be able to watch television. So I have too much to do to die now. I just have too much to do to die now. I'm way too busy. I have too much to do to die right now. Ah, that's a relief.
I'm 80% certain that this is not cancer.
And he was certain. And in fact, they found some troubling materials. He also said, I see chemo in your future. So I elected to have 6 chemo sessions. After sessions 3, 4, and 5, I was no longer frightened about death. And I was no longer haunted by the times in the hospital with my best friend Vivian and with my mother. I started to settle down a little bit and get calmer. I started to really deeply think about gratitude. I moved to another level of gratitude. I was grateful, and I still am, that I had health insurance. That I had so many hours of medical leave that I could take the 7 months off and be okay. That I had the resources to pay for vitamins, supplements, herbs, and yes, yoga. I resolved to be grateful for the rest of my life. I joined a support group at the Women's Cancer Resource Center in Oakland. Looking across the room and listening to a woman introduce herself, I was thrown back 5 years. I remember being in that very room. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I don't have cancer, but I'm here to support my friend Vivian. It was as clear as day. I had been in that room, I had sat in that very seat, cancer-free and supporting my friend. It was a very poignant moment for me, but I felt as though I had returned home. There was an occurrence after the 6th and final treatment. As I was going to get barbecue, which I usually did right after chemo, there was a communique from the body. The body said, I don't want meat. What do you mean you don't want meat? You like meat. You demand meat. After every chemo session, we're going to go get ourselves some sliders. I don't want that. That's brown food. I want green food. You want what? I want green and white food. Green and white food. I want homemade pesto with ronzoni linguine. I want ronzoni linguine and pesto now! I realized that the body had been raised in New York, right? And so it wanted ronzoni. It's not easy to get out here. It's expensive. The body wanted it. You don't want to mess with the body, right? The body had gotten me through all of that. So I ran off to the farmer's market and got some basil and made the pesto and fed the body. The body was happy. There was a final occurrence after the 4th, after the 6th chemo session, I looked into the mirror, and it was odd. No eyelashes, no eyebrows, no hair. There was a sadness and a weariness in my eyes that I had never seen before. It was the face of my mother. That same nostalgic, weary, sad, sad feeling. It was the kind of look that I saw on her face, usually in the winter, always on a Sunday, when she would play her Mahalia Jackson records, and think about her mother, father, brother, and sisters, all long gone. I realized that I didn't need to wear that look in order to remember her. Mommy, I owe you my life. But look what you've done with it, she said. But I miss you so much. Mama knows, she'd say. Mama knows. And she would rock me. This journey from cancer back to life has had many lessons. I've learned to be grateful. I've learned that judgment is not always helpful. When I started to tell my story to other people, I realized that so many other people, their mothers, fathers, cousins, sisters, twins, uncles, had all suffered from cancer and its treatments. I realized that if I opened up, I could help other people in this way. And I resolved to do that. As my mother was dying, I came up with a phrase to comfort myself. I am a faith-filled servant of God, the ancestors, and everything that is divine. I hope the ancestors will accept this humble offering for all that they've given me. Namaste.